on that?
Yes, Your Honor. So I did not find anything directly on point. However, in looking at Carlson's on evidence, specifically under the best evidence rule, within it they discuss a case out of the Arizona Supreme Court, which is persuasive authority, in which the Arizona Supreme Court, and this is in case State v. Now spell it, I think it's Prasertfong, Prasertphong, 210 Arizona 496, that the Arizona Supreme Court held that a criminal defendant waived his Sixth Amendment right to the introduction of the remainder of a co-defendant's testimonial statement where he himself introduced portions thereof. Condemning the defendant's entreaty to hold otherwise, the court remarked, such a position transforms the Confrontation Clause from a shield to a sword. So, in looking at that, what defense counsel has asked to do is to play a portion of her statement, which would be a foul of, for them, the Confrontation Clause, because they want half of it.
Interrupting you, but I follow your argument, but they've said they want to offer it, but they haven't actually offered it.
Correct. And what we were doing was trying to avoid that. Now, the state can wait and see if defense counsel offers the statement themselves and whether they play it on redirect or if they play it within their own case in chief and then ask for the rest of the portion to be played at that point in time.
Mr. McDermott?
So, what was the date on that court case?
This is a 2005 case.
2005. And that was effectively the issue that was taken up in Hemphill v. New York by the United States Supreme Court in 2021. A defendant wanted to make reference to statements that were made, I believe it was at a plea hearing, and they were favorable to him. And then when the state moved to bring in the rest of the transcript or whatever other statements from the plea hearing, he said, no, I have a confrontation right now. And the United States Supreme Court upheld him. So whatever the Arizona Supreme Court thought about swords versus shields is irrelevant in light of what the United States Supreme Court said. And it goes a little deeper than that when you start talking about, well, no, I guess it really doesn't. It's the rule of completeness was discussed in that case. The court didn't decide on that issue, and there was some discussion of that issue in the concurrences and dissents. And so it is an undecided issue, but as the law stands currently, you can quote part and still reserve your confrontation right in the remaining parts of the statement. And the only exceptions I would think that there would be to that is if you're quoting part and leaving out a part that creates a mischaracterization. And that would have to be on the same issue, and that's not what's in play here.
And if I may, I'll also note that according to Carson's, and this was his 8th edition, that it appears the 11th Circuit, according to Carlson, is moving in the direction of the more inclusive line of cases that hold that Rule 106 authorizes the admission of otherwise objectionable evidence if doing so serves the purposes of the rule. So again, kind of in line with this Arizona case, it appears that the 11th Circuit is attempting to move in that direction, being more inclusive. If the defendant wants to play part of a statement that would otherwise be inadmissible, then allowing all of it to come in based upon the rule of completeness.
I'm trying to get to a couple of cases.
It was real slow for me this morning.
And inaccurate for me, the search.
Oh, I'm reading. Thank you. Having now had a chance to look at the Hemphill case, and having considered what the state has offered, I don't find, I don't find anything. I think Mr. McDermott's characterization of what the court said in Hemphill is accurate, and that to the extent the 11th Circuit has talked about waiver in the context of Hemphill, it's only done it once. And and they're talking about the difference between implied and express waivers. And while I have very real concerns about the ability of a defendant to say, I want to play this part, but I invoke my confrontation right on this part, that seems fundamentally unfair and sounds a lot like a waiver to me. So far, that hasn't actually happened. The defendant hasn't offered that testimony, number one. And number two, if they did, it does seem like Hemphill would caution the court against finding an express waiver. So for now, I think Mr. McDermott is correct that there is a confrontation right in terms of the state's. It is the statement, just to clarify my record, because I incorrectly said a few minutes ago, the statement's clearly testimonial in nature. We have a law enforcement officer who's going to testify to having discussed this, and it's an audio recording of that individual speaking to law enforcement. So I don't think there's any dispute that Mr. Wolfenbarger would have a confrontation right. That person is unavailable, but the request by the defense and the ruling by the court that her statements would potentially be admissible as to residual hearsay based on what she observed, I don't think changes the outcome here in terms of the ruling in favor of the defense that this is confrontation.
And thank you for that, Your Honor, but if it's the same statement to the same law enforcement officer describing her observations, nothing changed. So if it's admissible under the residual hearsay for the defendant, we would ask that the same Confrontation Clause issue is still there, and if the defense is allowed to bring in their portion for their particular purposes, we would ask that the court reconsider allowing any of the statement in, because
I may very well not allow any of this statement in because, as I said, I have read Hemphill, but I still have real concerns about the ability of a defendant to cherry pick his confrontation rights. And so, to be clear, if Mr. Wolfenbarger chooses to offer that evidence affirmatively in some manner, the court may find that that constitutes an express waiver of his confrontation rights. But right now, Mr. Wolfenbarger hasn't offered that testimony. The state doesn't have a confrontation right. So the only thing that I was asked to rule on previously was whether or not that statement would constitute residual hearsay, and I think it would, and that's why I said it could be offered. But at the time, the defense was attempting to offer it, and no one was invoking confrontation because the defense wanted to offer it affirmatively.
okay.
Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor, very
As clear as it can be, anyway?
It's as clear as it can be.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So does that mean, what do we need to do with this witness, practically speaking? Do you need to have her back on the stand to conclude your examination?
I do need to complete my examination, and then I believe I admitted it. I don't think I can.
Actually, you offered it, but Mr. McDermott objected, and the court hasn't ruled on that objection. That's where we stopped to have this conversation.
All right. So I'm assuming the court is going to sustain their objection and not allow the state to.
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm not going to allow its admission.
Thank you.
So we're ready for that witness then and the jury?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Your Honor, if I get on cross in just a couple of minutes and then attempt to elicit the statement that was previously allowed, are we going to have this discussion all over again?
We might. I mean, I think I've just said out loud, I've read Hemphill. I understand what it says, but I have very real concerns about the ability of a defendant to cherry pick their confrontation rights and to offer a part of a statement without invoking confrontation and then seeking to invoke confrontation to prevent the state from offering the full context of that statement. And I mean, we might need to make a further record of it, but I'm just trying to guide you that if you offer that statement, the state, I believe, I expect, is going to seek, based on Ms. Hilton's representations a moment ago, to play the remainder of it, and I very well might find that Mr. Wolfenbarger has waived his confrontation rights as to that statement by affirmatively offering that witness's statement and evidence. And again, I think it would be different if we were talking about an hours-long statement by a witness who was talking about lots of things that might or might not be relevant. But we're talking about a 5-minute statement that could probably be even pared down further, that are about that particular now deceased's, through no fault of anyone else's, unavailable witness, testimony about what she personally observed and what statement she personally heard the defendant make. That's my understanding of the characterization of that statement. That Ms. Parrott, what the state wants and what you want.
Okay. I understand you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have the witness back, please? And deputy, we're ready for the jury. Thank you all. Please be seated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay. Ms. Hilton, when we adjourned, the state had offered Exhibit 74 into evidence, to which Mr. Wolfenbarger had objected, and the court is going to sustain that objection. 74 will not be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
After speaking with Diane, did you speak with anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you speak with?
Christina Wolfenbarger,
And how did you speak with her?
by phone.
And was she able to provide you information regarding this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after speaking with Christine and Diane, did you do anything else as it relates to this investigation?
Yes, ma'am. I put together a synopsis and submitted it to the district attorney's office.
You said you put together a
A
synopsis?
synopsis of the case, I'm sorry.
And at that time, did the district attorney's office move forward with any charges?
No, ma'am.
And did you inform Ms. Patton of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Once you informed her that at that time the district attorney wasn't going to move forward with any charges, did she ask for you to interview anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did she ask for you to interview?
Rachel Karen Nelson Tucker and Kimberly Cameron.
And did you interview those people?
I could not locate Miss Cameron. I talked to Ms. Nelson.
And in late December 2016, did you receive a call from an investigator, St. John?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection. Privileged information.
Your Honor, we can approach. I can just let the court know where I'm going.
Overruled. Go ahead, Ms. Hilton.
Did you speak with an investigator, St. John?
Yes, ma'am.
And where was he an investigator?
Suwannee County, Florida.
And did he provide you information for you to follow up on?
Yes, ma'am.
And then yes or no, did you speak with a Pastor Mike Carson?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you speak with that person in January of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
After January 2017, did you conduct any additional investigation in this case?
No, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott?
Did I understand you correctly to testify that you were part of the cadaver dog search team that was at the house?
No, I was at the house, but I wasn't part of any team. Cadaver dog search team.
The cadaver dog search team was from another jurisdiction?
Correct.
Okay. And you said they did perform a search
Yes.
of the property, and they found nothing?
Correct.
Okay. And were you there when they performed the search?
I do not recall.
Okay. You said you put together a synopsis of the case.
Yes, sir.
Did that include a review of the crime lab reports?
The ones that I had at that time, yes.
Okay. And you said you did not file any charges at that time?
That's correct.
All right. No further questions?
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Hilton?
Nothing from the state.
Okay, thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
Ms. Hilton, state may call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Investigator Richard Stein.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You'll come up to the witness stand, and when you get there, before you have a seat, if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand, he'll swear you in.
You swear I find true the testimony that you're about to give, true, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, says God. Not to see. Please state and spell the full name for the court, please.
Richard Stein, and my last name is Stein.
Mr. Stein, can you tell the court how you are currently employed?
I'm currently a captain with the Chattahoochee Hills Police Department
How long have you been employed with Chattahoochee Hills?
for 2 years now.
Okay. What do you do as a captain there?
I oversee patrol and investigative functions.
All right. Prior to that, where were you employed?
I was employed by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. I was an assistant chief for, I want to say, probably about 2 years.
Okay.
And then I first started at the DA's office. I was an investigator, and I was just a standard investigator. I came in under Paul Howard back in 2019.
2019. Okay. Are you familiar with when Paul Howard came into office? You familiar with that?
I know that he was in office for, I want to say, I believe it was like close to 30 years.
Okay.
If you would, sir, I apologize. Just get a little closer to that microphone.
Sure.
Thank you.
I believe Paul Howard at that time, I want to say was in for approximately 30 years or so.
Okay.
That he's been.
All right. And could you describe some of your duties at the Fulton County DA's office during your tenure?
Sure. When I first started, I was at the investigator for the crimes against women and children. Basically worked up child molestation cases, rape cases, aggravated assaults, anything that basically dealt with domestic violence, I would say was my forte at that time.
Okay. And so your testimony is that you came into the Fulton County DA's office under the Paul Howard administration around
Correct.
2019?
Correct.
All right. When you left the Fulton County DA's office, were you assigned to any particular unit?
Yeah. When Madam DA came in, Willis, at that point, everybody that was here, we all had to basically submit applications, resumes, and they gave us out like a list of jobs or positions that were open. So everybody that was here before had to reapply. At that time, I reapplied, and I saw that there was a capital and cold case division that I was interested in, and that's what I went out for.
Okay. Prior to that, had there been a capital and cold case division at the Fulton County DA's office?
There was, I want to say, towards maybe the beginning. I'm not overly sure of Paul Howard's, but I do know that for whatever reason, it was disbanded.
Okay. And when did that, to the best of your recollection, when was that unit recreated in the DA's office?
It was recreated. I tested for it. I ended up getting it, and it was basically January 1st of 2021, I believe. When she took office, I was immediately transferred from my current assignment to capital and cold case. We had 2 attorneys and 2 investigators.
Okay. And when you came to that cold case unit, did it already have a caseload itself?
It had a caseload as far as they were putting it together. So we had a lot of cases, and we were getting basically buy-ins from the other police departments. So we were talking a lot with Atlanta Police Department, Roswell, all the agencies within Fulton, letting them know that this is what we had now, and this is what we were looking on doing. And we were basically setting up a full cold case unit, and we were going over the cases, and we asked them if they had cases, could they please forward to them, since they would have the best recollection of cases too.
Okay. And did at any point did the Fulton County DA's office start to receive, referrals of cases to investigate?
Yes. Okay. A list was put together. I want to say it was. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it was a large list.
All right. And is that the point when you started looking into conducting internal investigations into the cold cases?
Correct. What we would do is go down. We would see what witnesses were still available, which witnesses may have passed away, and where witnesses were. We were also looking at the evidence of what cases had physical evidence, and just solvability factors, basically.
Okay. You say solvability factors. What do you mean by that?
Of which cases would have the greatest, per se, solvability factors if we still had, I hate to say it, a lot of living witnesses, then those were the cases that were more prone to go. Or if some of the witnesses were getting to the age, then you would almost have to triage and put which ones, could go first.
Is it safe to say you need evidence that you can bring into court? Is that safe to say?
Yes.
All right. At any point, did you and your team, and specifically referring you to the initiation of the cold case unit in Fulton County DA's office, did you begin to investigate the disappearance of Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
How did you come to begin to investigate that case?
Originally, our 2 investigators was Adam Abate, and I'm sorry, not investigators, attorneys were Adam Abate and Adrian Love. The parents of Melissa Wolfenbarger came in, and then we ended up going out, and I want to say we went out to the scene location with a dog, and it just started from there. And then once we did that, then we started digging more and more into the case. We also contacted and met with APD, also Detective Shephard.
Okay. And what year, if you can orient us, you said the administration came in 2021. What year are you talking about this is happening?
I would say that this all would have been back in probably 2021.
Okay. And at any point, did you and your team come up with, say, a complete list or checklist of things that needed to be done on this case?
Yes.
And just ballpark, how many tasks did you come up with that you decided needed to be completed?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember basically of like a number of tasks, but I could probably give more examples of what some of the tasks were.
Well, and if you could speak to that, what types of things were you looking to complete during that period?
We were looking at evidence. So what we wanted to do was see what physical evidence we had, and we checked with APD for them to get their hands on a lot of the evidence. A lot of people at that time kind of forget that APD went through that system of, I want to say it was around 2016. It was the late teens of where they had a hack. And a lot of their evidence, even though it was in the evidence room, was irretrievable. And I've had a couple of cases where we tried to go in there and find it, and we weren't able to find it.
And so when you talk about some of the evidence is irretrievable, what types of issues did you, and you're talking about 2016 hack, what is that?
Well, I had a case.
I would object to relevance unless it's about this case.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just responding to that. There's the Atlanta Police Department, and we've heard evidence of at least one videotape that the police department had, and this is after this occurred after that evidence would have been in the property of the Atlanta Police Department. So I think this is part of the explanation of evidence that's come in during the course of this trial.
Okay, I'm going to allow it, but let's not go too far down that road.
Thank you.
Overruled, sir.
Okay.
You were testifying.
What we had was every now and then they had difficult locating it. So we would put in, so they may have, for example, I can't remember this case off the top of my head if there was anything that we weren't able to locate, but a phone. The phone was in their evidence room, but their evidence room is absolutely enormous. This was a separate case, and we were never able to get it. They wrote a letter saying that the phone, they had it, but it was irretrievable.
Okay. Now, you were referring to this list of items that needed to be completed. Was there an intent to present your investigation or the unit investigation to the DA for an indictment decision at some point?
Yes, yes. Basically, we all worked together on it, and we would go down the checklist. We would see what witnesses were still around. We would also go and see, like I said, what evidence and the possible testing methods to test the evidence in which we did find.
Okay. And did you look at conducting any types of tests in particular on evidence related to this case?
Yes.
And walk us through what were you attempting to test in particular?
Well, we ended up having select funds for testing and for DNA testing. There was a cutting edge DNA testing that Francis Bardole from Cold Case Solutions was doing with some success. It dealt with the MVAC system. So we were trying to go through and see what evidence we had that we could use this testing and send it off. And that's basically what we did, is we identified several pieces that we could send off to her.
Well, and so when you say pieces, what types of pieces are you referring to?
The evidence was basically where the severed head was found in a trash bag. So the trash bag had a knot to it. The knot was believed to be untampered with and not opened up or closed. So on her method is what she would do is hopefully take the knot, and she would test the knot, slowly unravel it, trying to pull out whatever DNA may have been in the knot, if there was any. And she's had some success. And that's basically of what we were doing at that time.
Okay, and would that have also been, what year would that have taken place?
That it probably would have been around I want to say the following year, maybe 2020, It's got to be 2022, I would imagine. I would have to see. I don't know if I have.
Okay.
Yeah, 2022 is probably when it was sent off, and I don't think we got the reports back until about 2023.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, did that result in information that allowed the office to proceed with an indictment?
To my knowledge, I don't know. The indictment part came after I ended up going to Chattahoochee Hills.
Okay. But to the best of your knowledge, the results of that didn't automatically trigger an indictment. As far
Didn't automatic. No, the results came back and everything. To the best of my knowledge, was inconclusive. It didn't really hold, unfortunately, any evidentiary type value.
And in addition to the I guess the bags themselves, was there anything else that was submitted for testing or comparison purposes?
I would need to see the list that we sent them, but it was basically just everything. I want to say it was several bags that were all sent out to Francine Bardot to test. I think some items were also some clothing. Okay. But again, I'm doing this off of memory.
All right. If you were to see a copy of the front part of the report, would that refresh your recollection as to some of the items that were tested?
It's because I know we sent buccal swabs with it.
And what is a buccal swab in
A
particular?
buccal swab is an oral swab for comparison.
Okay. And who would that buccal swab, would that have corresponded with a particular individual?
Yes.
And who would that have been?
It would have been with Mr. Wolfenbarger.
All right. And the testing that you're talking about this morning, is that part of the task at yourself and the unit at the DA's office? Is that part of the task that were, I guess, picked to complete before you presented that information to the DA?
Yes.
And your testimony is that once you left the DA's office, this case was still under investigation?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, it was an active investigation when you left. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
All right. One moment, Judge.
Sure.
Sorry.
Mr. McDermott?
Excuse me, what's?
I'm sorry? Do you have questions, Ms. Smith?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm ready. I do have questions.
You stated that you went out to the scene where the body had been found,
Correct.
or the remains had been found, and you were with a team of people?
Yes.
Who all was with you? Do you remember?
I believe the first thing I was sometimes butchered the name. I'm not great with names, but I believe it was Cheryl McCullum. She was a CSI, or she was a crime scene tech for Hapeville.
Is that what she does now?
I'm not sure if she's still with them or not.
Is she a popular podcaster on true crime?
I believe she does have a podcast, yes.
Was Karen Greer present at the news station?
Oh, the news station, yes. There was it ended up being a news clip about it, yes.
Okay.
And there was a canine from, it's been a while. I can't
Some kind of
remember.
canine.
Another type of canine unit.
And were any of the ADAs there?
Yes. At that time, it was Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love.
Okay. And that was what year? 2020, 2021?
It's got to be 2021, I would believe.
And okay. You said that one of the items you sent in for DNA testing was the bag that the head had been in.
I believe so. I'd really like to see the list if possible.
And I'll show it to you.
Okay, thank you.
But you described there being knots
Right.
tied in these bags, and
Correct.
that would have hopefully left, whoever tied those knots may have left trace DNA evidence there.
Correct.
And that's what you would have been looking for in these tests,
Yes.
was trace DNA. Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
to show you this.
All right.
Okay, so I think what you're asking for is going to be beginning here,
Okay.
and here, but I want you to take note of the date as well.
November 23rd. Yep, that sounds about.
And I will also ask you about this document as well.
Sure. Let me just take one more look at this. Is this the same? No, this is the final.
Right.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
That's fine. All right.
Do you recognize those documents?
Yes.
And what do those documents appear to be?
They are, well, it's a report from where it was sent to Francine Bardol, and it looks like this is where she used the MFAC filter, and it's explaining each item, what the filter was bad containing.
So is it fair to say that those reports are reports from the DNA testing agency or company?
Yes, so there were two separate companies involved.
Who are these reports from?
All right, this one, this one's all from Pure Gold.
And you've referenced the Francine Bardol, is her name on that?
Right, so Francine Bardol is, here she is, but her company's listed underneath.
Okay.
Cold Case Solutions and Resources.
So it appears she was subcontracting out the work.
Correct. What she would do is that she would process the evidence, and then there was only very limited places that was able to do the DNA in a short time frame, and that's where we used the other company. I want to say that it was Susan Ryan was the one that worked the evidence.
Okay. And in the list, I'll ask you in a minute.
Sure.
And does that list reflect an item 8.1?
Yes.
And what was item 8.1?
It says a bag containing had a mixture of DNA. Do you want me to read it?
Sure, go ahead and read the results, if you will.
Okay. A mixture of DNA consists with originating from at least 5 contributors, with at least 2 male contributors, was obtained from item number 5.
Thank you. And now if you would please,
Yes.
would you please read the results on that second report that was sent?
Yes. On this one, it says Christopher Wolfenbarger is excluded as a possible contributor to the mixture obtained from item 8.1.
Your Honor, the state is stipulated to the admissibility of this.
What are the exhibit numbers?
And I would like to move to enter defendants 8 and 9, please.
And because there's a stipulation, Mr. Fawcett, I assume there's no objection?
No objection.
Okay, defendants 8 and 9 are admitted. Go ahead.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fawcett, additional follow-up for this witness?
No further questions.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
All right. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, just because we just had a recent break, I was planning to take a little bit, to keep going and take a little bit later lunch. Okay, getting nods. So, Mr. Fawcett, the state may call its next witness.
The state calls Detective Shephard.
A seat if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand to swear you in.
Yes, ma'am. You swear to affirm to the testimony that you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Now have a seat. Please state and spell the full name for the court.
Detective Jarian Shephard, that's Jarion Shepard.
Detective Shephard, where are you currently employed?
The Atlanta Police Department Homicide Unit.
And in what capacity?
I currently work within the Homicide Unit, our cold case and complex squad that we have within the unit.
How long have you been employed with the Atlanta Police Department?
Close to 23 years.
And can you describe your duties?
Yes, I primarily work cold case and complex cases within the homicide unit, whatever complex case comes up in the city limits of Atlanta, and of course cold cases.
Okay. How many homicide cases would you say you've worked at the city?
Close to 500.
All right. And if you could walk us through, how do you begin the process of receiving information on a case and then beginning the investigation?
So instead of a cold case, when a homicide comes in, of course we get the location, we verify the location, the venue, make sure it's inside the city limits of Atlanta. We respond to the scene, we make sure that scene is secure. We make sure the evidence has all been numbered and appropriately documented.
Okay. And what about what is considered a cold case?
When all investigative leads have been exhausted.
And what does that mean when you say investigative leads?
So, say for instance, witnesses, they've been spoken with. There's no leads on new witnesses. Evidence that's gone stale. Things of that nature make a case go cold.
Okay. Is there a specific unit at the Atlanta Police Department designated to look into cases that have been unsolved?
Yes, that's currently the cold case squad that I'm a part of.
Okay. And when did you become a part of that unit?
Within the cold case unit, I would say around 2020.
How many cases you currently assigned?
Primarily, I'm close to 100 cases.
All right. And how do you determine which of your cases to prioritize in your cold case, the amount of cold cases that you have?
So, of course, we look at the solvability factors. We take a look at each case, determine what factors need to be looked at first. We make that a priority. In those cases, we do take a more in-depth look at.
Okay. And at the time you came into investigating this case, and we're talking about the State versus Christopher Wolfenbarger, were you knowledgeable about the previous investigation that had been done?
Correct.
What did you do to become familiar with the previous work that had been done on this case?
So the first thing I do when I get a cold case, I get the entire file. I look over the file, I read it, make copies of everything so I can make my personal notations, document all witnesses that are available. I make a priority list on who I need to interview, what I need to interview, make a list of the evidence that's available within the case, and also be sure to contact the original detective if he's available, he or she's available.
Okay. And who was the original detective on this case?
Detective Calhoun.
All right. All right. Did you meet with Detective Calhoun?
I did.
How many times throughout your investigation and after the case was indicted did you meet with Detective Calhoun?
Numerous times. We spoke on the phone. We met in person.
Okay. Did you review Detective Calhoun's reports that he wrote prior to his retirement?
I did, and also summarized all of his case file, his notes. And of course, I like to always have the original detective read over it to make sure it's accurate.
Okay. Did you look into the background and lifestyle of Melissa Wolfenbarger?
I did.
And at the time you came into the investigation, did you have a suspect in mind, a person of interest?
Yes.
And who was that?
Christopher Wolfenbarger.
And was there anything about the background of Melissa Wolfenbarger and her lifestyle that led you to focus on Christopher Wolfenbarger?
Yes, they had a violent, tumultuous relationship between the two.
Where did you receive information, or where did you look to find information about the lifestyle of Melissa?
The first thing we like to look at is, of course, what's documented, police reports and things of that nature.
Did you speak to her relatives?
I did,
Did you attempt to locate and speak to people that were friends with Melissa?
yes.
What about anyone that lived on the street or in the same area as the Brookline residents?
Yes.
Did you also look in to see if there were any previous state or criminal cases related to domestic violence?
Yes.
All right. And what in particular can you say about investigating homicide cases, in particular homicide cases where there might be domestic violence involved? What can you say, tell the jury about those types of investigations?
We come across those type of investigations often. They're also a result of some type of passion that includes jealousy and things of that nature. That's really what kind of resonates when it comes to domestic violence cases.
Okay. And are you familiar with domestic violence cases where there's been a case or a protective order that has been issued in connection with the case?
Correct, yes.
Is that something that happens often?
It is, especially when you have one partner that's very aggressive. And of course, the victim in that situation, if they're very afraid, and that's the one of the recourse that they can take.
Your Honor, at this time I have several self-authenticating documents I would tender into evidence at this time. I have Exhibit 24, which is a certified document of a petition seeking relief from family violence. That is, it states Exhibit 24.
Mr. McDermott? I'm sorry, Mr. Samuel?
We just reviewed them. We don't object to these documents.
Okay, thank you. Exhibit 24 is admitted.
Okay. I have Exhibit 26, is a certified self-authenticating document. It is the Rule 9 Psi from that, setting that court date down. So it's Exhibit 26.
26 is admitted.
I have State's Exhibit 28. It is the state certified document. It is the actual formal motion to dead docket the case, a formal case, the battery case in March of 1999. And that is Exhibit 28.
Okay, no, there was no objection by the defense, so 28 is also admitted.
And I have printed out a copy of what was admitted yesterday, Exhibit 27. That's a self-authenticating document. It is the request for dismissal.
Right, it's already in evidence.
That was
Exhibit
27. Yes,
sir.
All right. Now, for the record, Detective Shephard, I'm going to publish what's been tendered and admitted as State's Exhibit 24. All right. Do you see that State's Exhibit?
Yes.
And what is that?
That looks like a protective order.
Okay. What is a protective order?
It's a temporary protective order. It's an order given by the court to the person that's seeking this order for some type of protection from the person that they're putting a TPO against. We call it TPO, a temporary protective order.
All right. Now, when you looked at the information, the notes, the summaries from Detective Calhoun, when you spoke to family and friends, were you aware that there was a July 21st, 1998 battery committed by this defendant against Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes,
Okay. Did you have a chance to look at the reports related to that?
I did.
Were you aware upon reviewing those reports that there were visible observed injuries to the person of Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
All right. At that point, were you concerned, or did you at least factor that this could be related to domestic violence?
Absolutely.
All right. Was that why Christopher Wolfenbarger was the primary suspect?
Yes.
And does it indicate on State's Exhibit 26 the marital status of Melissa Wolfenbarger's claim?
Yes, that she was married.
Okay. And does it also indicate living in the same household?
Yes.
Now, after a petition is ordered by the court, you're familiar with court dates that would be scheduled subsequent to that. Are you familiar with those court dates?
Yes.
Is that fairly common for a petitioner to file a complaint and then have a court order a date for that issue to be heard?
Yes, it's very common.
Okay. I am publishing State's Exhibit. Yeah, State's Exhibit 26. Can you tell the court what that is?
That's going to be the petition for court.
All right. Well, is that in fact the Rule 9 side setting it down to July 29th?
Correct.
Okay, and that's 1998. So would that have been the date that Melissa and the defendant would have showed up to, I guess, address whether or not there should have been a protective order in place? Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. Now I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 27. Melissa and the defendant would have showed up at court.
Yes, it is.
Based on the previous paperwork.
Yes, it is.
All right. Now, is that the first time you've heard of where a petitioner would request for a case to be dismissed?
It's not that you don't see that often.
Okay. What about victims of domestic violence in cases that you've investigated not wanting to proceed with the investigation? Is that uncommon?
No, that's not uncommon.
What do you mean by that?
Usually when the victims of domestic violence, it's a pattern, a toxic pattern they fall back into with the person, with the abuser, and they usually fall right back into that pattern.
Yeah. So when you see requests for dismissal, are you at this point, are you disregarding the possibility of there being ongoing domestic violence?
No, I'm not disregarding that at all.
Now, turn your attention to State's Exhibit 28. To the best of your knowledge, did that case involving this defendant for the July 1998 attack against Melissa Wolfenbarger, did that ever make its way to court?
No, it did not.
And do you know why?
She never showed up for court.
Okay. And referring you to State's Exhibit 28, do you see what's on that board?
Yes.
And can you read what is depicted in writing under the motion to death document?
It said unable to locate victim, warrant case, violation and probation for non-reporting.
Okay. And what date is that that document was signed?
March 15th, 1999.
Okay. Do you recall the date that, based on your investigation, that the head of Melissa Wolfenbarger was located across the Avon Avenue location?
I believe it's in April 99.
Okay, so that's after, roughly about a month after that.
Correct.
All right. The month after they had dismissed the case because they couldn't find her, essentially.
Correct.
Did you look into whether or not Melissa and the defendant had any children?
I did.
And what did your investigation reveal?
He had a boy. They had a boy together and a young female.
And what about living conditions? Where were the children living at the time of the death?
With Christopher's mother.
Did you actually make your way to the Avon Avenue location?
I did.
And did you go to the Brookline Street location?
I did.
All right. How many times have you gone out to that location?
Multiple times.
I'm going to show you what's been marked in State's Exhibit 76. Tell the court if you recognize that location.
Yes, it's an overall bird's eye view of the location where her head and extremities were found.
Okay. And specifically, is that an overall view of the Avon Avenue location?
Correct.
And is that an overall view of the location where Action Glass, the business, is located?
Correct.
And did you also, had you been to those locations, observing with your own eyes?
Yes.
Had you also actually gone and visited the residence at 824 Brookline Street where the Wolfenbargers lived at during that period?
Yes.
And is that location depicted on that State's Exhibit 76 as well?
Yes, it's all contained in this photo.
All right. And the depiction listed on State's Exhibit 76, is it a fair and accurate representation of that area that contains the Avon Avenue location, Action Glass, and the 824 Brookline Street location?
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the State moved to tender in evidence State's Exhibit 76.
No objection.
Go ahead, submitted,
Permission to publish?
permission granted.
All right. Okay. Now, with the court's permission, Detective Shephard, you could point to the location where Action Glass is.
It's here.
All right. And the significance of that. area, did you actually see the Brookline Street?
Correct.
All right. Now, did you actually yourself go to locations where the head was located,
Yes, I did.
as well as the extremities?
Yes.
All right, in relationship to the job where Wolfenbarger worked and the residence, did you show the jury on the map where the head and extremities were located?
So action glass 858 Avon is here. The head was roughly here, and the extremities was located in this area.
And did you actually walk that location between where the head was located, the extremities, and action glass?
Yes.
Generally, can you talk this to how many feet, if you can recall that distance would be?
Maybe 30 feet.
All right. And did you drive that location from Axe and Glass to the 824 Brookline Street?
Yes.
And roughly how long of a drive is that?
Less than a minute.
Okay. Is that the geography, the location of the residence, the job, was that significant at all in your investigation?
Absolutely, it was significant.
And why is that?
It's all in close proximity to Christopher Wolfenbarger's work address, home address, and the location where we found everything.
Now, as far as the actual remains of Melissa Wolfenbarger that were located, you where all of her remains were located?
Melissa's torso has never been found.
And did that, was there anything about that caused you to look into anything else in terms of this investigation?
It did. It raised a lot of suspicion because she was under the belief that she was pregnant.
Okay. And why was that significant in your investigation?
I thought it was significant because that's the only portion of her body that was never found.
Did you have evidence, or did you uncover in your investigation that Melissa Wolfenbarger was involved with another male at that time?
I did.
Did you know that person to be Thomas Dixon?
It is him, correct.
And did you receive any information during the course of the investigation that Christopher Wolfenbarger was aware of Thomas Dixon?
I did.
And what information did you receive?
Of course, Thomas Dixon stated, but also Christopher admitted that she was possibly involved with the male.
Okay. Did he have any other information about that male that you may have been involved with other than a male?
That they worked in the same Waffle House.
Okay. Was that the information that led you to believe that it was Thomas Dixon?
Correct.
Was that impactful to you, the fact that the defendant was aware of who Melissa Wolfenbarger was seeing?
Yes, it was.
And why is that?
Because that, again, when I spoke about jealousy being a main component of domestic violence, that raised a red flag for me immediately.
Okay. Now, you mentioned let me ask you this. Is it significant at all for a homicide investigator to try to determine the cause of death?
It is significant.
Did you make an attempt to determine the cause of death in this case?
Yes.
And in doing that, did you observe the remains of Melissa Wolfenbarger?
I did.
Was there anything significant about the remains of Melissa Wolfenbarger that led you to look in any other directions during the course of your investigation?
No, her head was removed with a saw.
Okay. You mentioned a saw.
Correct.
All right. Is it your testimony that at some point a saw became important in your investigation?
It was very important in my investigation.
All right. Did you observe remains and what appeared to be marks on the remains?
Yes.
And at any point in your investigation, did you make an attempt to see if the defendant had been in possession of a saw at some point?
I did.
What efforts did you make to determine that?
I interviewed his former employers.
Okay. Who was that?
That's Mr. Brock at the Action Glass at 858 Avon
All right. Where did you interview them at?
in their residence.
Now, was that the only time that they had been interviewed by law enforcement?
No, during the early part of the investigation, they were interviewed by Detective Calhoun.
Okay. And you interviewed them again?
Correct.
Ronald Brock?
Yes.
Cindy Brock?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of you interviewing them?
We always like to follow up and tie up any loose ends, and significant enough time had passed, so I needed to follow up and make sure
Okay.
with that interview.
Did you inquire about Saul in particular on the date that you interviewed them when you went out?
I did.
Were they able to provide you information?
Yes.
What information did they provide you?
Hearsay, Your Honor, objection.
And in response to that, Judge,
Brock's?
yes,
Okay.
as it relates to Cindy Brock's statement, her statement in particular has been the foundation was laid and it was impeached. And that statement was played in front of the jury. So at this point, it's substantive evidence. It would be admissible.
I'm going to overrule the objection, Mr. Samuel.
And what did the Brock say?
Christopher was terminated because it was believed that he stole a saw, a reciprocal saw.
Okay. So they recalled the saw.
Correct.
They recalled him, I guess, a belief at that time that he took it.
Correct.
And they also recalled never receiving the saw back. Is that also correct?
Correct.
All right. And was that consistent with the remains that you observed of Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes, her limbs and her head were removed by saw because there were saw tool markings on those bones.
Now, you referenced an interview with this defendant. Well, a statement that he made.
Correct.
Where did that take place?
At his home.
Do you recall the time period of that interview?
It was early on when I got the case. I want to say it's back in 2021. It took place at his residence in Griffin, Georgia.
Okay. And would that have been roughly the same year you got assigned this case?
Correct.
All right. Who was present when that interview took place?
My supervisor at the time, Sergeant Layton.
So just yourself and Sergeant Layton?
Correct.
All right. Who was present at the residence of Christopher Wolfenbarger when you arrived?
It was a young lady who answered the door. I don't recall her name, but he described her as his wife, and just her and Christopher. I'm sorry.
All right. How long did that take place? The interview itself? Yes.
Approximately maybe an hour, a little bit over.
All right. And was this outside, inside? Where in the residence did this take place?
It was inside of his living room.
Okay. All right. So it's yourself, Sergeant Layton, and the defendant?
Correct.
All right. Was he willing to speak with you at that time?
Yes, he was.
All right. At any point, did you tell the defendant he was under arrest?
No point.
Did you have your cuffs out? Did you point a gun at him?
No, it was non-custodial.
Okay. And then so you never told the defendant that he wasn't free to leave?
Never.
Did you give him the impression that it wasn't voluntary what he was speaking to you? He didn't have a choice to voluntarily make a statement to you?
No, I did not give him that.
All right. And did you make an attempt to find out information about his wife's disappearance at the time you interviewed him?
Yes.
In particular, did you make an attempt to inquire as to why he didn't report his wife missing?
I did.
Was that when you were able to, I guess, get confirmation that he was aware of Thomas Dixon as well?
Correct.
And did you make an attempt to get information about whether the defendant was in possession of a saw at any point?
I did.
And did he speak to you about all those items?
Yes, he spoke to me about all of them.
So I hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 30 and 38. Have you had an opportunity to look at these exhibits?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And specifically as to 30A, you looked at that exhibit?
Correct.
And what is that exhibit?
It's the interview, recorded interview with Christopher.
All right. On the date that you've been testifying to?
Yes, sir.
And is it a fair and accurate representation of the interview that took place on that day?
Yes.
All right. That's Exhibit 30. I have Exhibit 38. Have you had a chance to review and sign the back of this document as well?
Yes.
All right. And is this also an interview that you conducted with the defendant on the day you've been testifying to?
Correct.
All right. And is this also a fair and accurate representation of that interview that you conducted?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will continue to evidence State's Exhibit 30, which is an interview conducted by Detective Shephard, and State's Exhibit 30A, which is a redacted interview by Detective Shephard.
Mr. Samuel?
We need to confirm the redaction, but no objection assuming that.
Okay, Exhibit 30 is admitted. Exhibit 30A is admitted subject to confirmed redactions.
Well, so 30 is not in evidence. 30A is.
He's offered it into evidence.
Can we approach?
Sure.
And for the record, Your Honor, this may be about 12 minutes just for timing purposes.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Let me say that. I planned on it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I need to give the jury just a little bit of instruction.
Yes.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, the state's going to play an audio recording that they've offered into evidence. You will likely notice, I think you've heard me and the lawyers mention some redactions. You'll likely notice as you watch it that things have been removed. I want to instruct you that the fact that things have been removed is not any concern of yours, and that you shouldn't speculate about what was removed or why it was removed or what might have been there that the court instructed. Understand that it's been done at my direction. And again, concern yourself with what's being demonstrated to you, not what might have also been there. Okay? Thank you all. Mr. Fawcett, the state may demonstrate the evidence that they choose.
I mean, before that, I mean, where was she working? At that time, the Wawa, up in, like, she worked that one, and the other one, Peachtree Corners was there.
Where were you working?
At the glass company, around the corner.
All right, so when was the last time you saw Melissa?
And that's the thing, you know, I don't quite remember if the last time was, because I remember, like, she would come and go, okay, and would say that it wasn't like, we're happy-go-lucky, she's sitting right here one day, and then she was up and gone. And I don't know if that's the way.
So would you describe your relationship as tumultuous, or like on again, off again, you know?
It was rocky there towards the end, mainly, I think, because it was her family so far trying to get back in her head and trying to make her think things and do things, and
Like what?
man, she never had a relationship with her sister at all. You know, and then that towards the end, you know, I guess everybody has a need to want, you know, family and want to feel loved and want that type of thing. You know, but I think there towards the end, maybe she tried a little to try to get back with him or to do what I don't think it was near what they made it seem like, that she was there all the time, or she leaving cards or pictures. And I know that did happen sometimes. She did, you know, spend it down, but the struggle that we had, we had a common goal of what we were trying to accomplish. You know, we had several blocks in a row.
Which was to go to California.
Just to get away with the kids that and all this. She didn't want no one in the house. She didn't want her didn't to be raised like she was in there right there. There was no, you know, we knew that her name was bad and that anybody could come in right there and do it.
Okay, so when was the last time you saw her?
But the last actual time I remember was like, I woke up and she was gone. Like we were in the middle of the night and she had left. And I don't know if that was the last time or the last time when I dropped her off at the train station to go to work. If it was the exact. I don't
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that the last time you saw her, you were driving up to your house on Brookline and saw her walking down the street? And that was the last time you saw her?
I don't remember saying that, but it's possible.
Okay.
I just don't.
Said that, basically you said that was the last time you saw her, that she said she was going to a train station. But something to that effect. I'm not saying verbatim that's what you said, but it was something along those lines. Okay.
I'll give you that.
But does that sound like it's accurate?
Again, it could be.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you remember that incident, or can you recall that happening almost about the home, driving up and her walking down the road? Does that ring any bells?
I mean, that's usually the way it happened because we only had one car.
Okay.
You know, if there
So
was,
she was walking to the train station to try to go to work or something?
you know, or I give her a ride, or she, you know, sometimes she just wanted to walk.
Okay.
You know, the train station. We're not talking about the train station was far away. We're talking about here, like to be the road.
Right, I got you. Yeah, no, within the city, so I understand. But talking about that specifically, do you remember that day specifically? Did you have?
Why is that relevant?
Well, I would like to ask you, what was she wearing? Do you remember? Did she have a purse with her? You know?
I don't remember.
So you don't. But the last time you saw her, when you came back home, and she wasn't there, where was her stuff? She didn't have a car, she couldn't move it, so it was still there in the house?
I don't assume. I mean, if she left it just like that, there was only like just a small. I mean, kind of the same thing I did. I mean, when I lost my job and moved, my grandparents were going to sell the house and everything. You know, when I left, I didn't take hard enough. I went to live in Walker, so it was whatever little.
After the last time you saw her, or back when she left, did you tell her family? Did you tell your family? You didn't tell her that your wife left?
I mean, she had left many times before that. When she would leave and go, I never knew that was the last time I was going to see her. If I did, I would have, you know, freaking kept her there.
After like a month or two, you think that was...
You know, after a while, I was thinking that she had split and moved on. I mean, there was, you know, she was maybe seeing the guy and everything that was up there, or I know that she was living with in Buford or Joe. I can't remember the last one with Buford or Eastern Corners.
Was she seeing somebody else?
I don't know if she was seeing somebody else, but there was this dude, and I want to say his girlfriend, that sometimes that she would stay with him in like a common lodge out that way.
And how did she know these people?
She worked with him.
Worked with the girl or the guy?
I want to say the guy and the girl both worked there, but I could be wrong. I know the guy worked there, but I know that it was a couple, you know, because then there was one time that they had called me and said that they were moving and she had to go do something, and then she had to do something else.
And this was before the last time you saw her, right?
Well, that's
That's what I'm saying. I'm just wondering.
I'm
not misunderstanding you.
Right.
I'm not trying to trick you or confuse you.
No.
I just want you to remember.
I'm trying to figure it all out.
If you were there, I was. So that's why. And if I want to clarify, I just want you to be accurate. All right. So a year goes by. You still don't everybody that she's gone?
I mean, I'm figuring that she's already done. I mean, we were always talking about changing her name and doing all that. She had the stuff there.
Right.
You know, when she got to the point where she was unhappy with me. I'm not trying to push myself in anybody's life that doesn't want me there. I mean, never put my daughter and everything that's going on there. I tried to push. And you know, maybe looking back and now, I was wrong. All the way around with both of them. Maybe I should try to push more and try to do it. But
You said you lost your job, but and with the job at the last company, why did you lose your job?
man, this guy, now, there was a lot of things going on right there with that. But, and I do now the same thing pretty much I did then. I mean, I worked on Volkswagen and things on the side. And there was a guy there, I don't know who stole the thing, there was a saw that was missing. And I can tell you the exact guy that I borrowed this tool from, everything's there. I didn't steal their saw, period.
Why did they lie?
Because he said I stole the saw, because their saw was missing, and I lived around the corner, and he drove past my house, and he seen the back of the Volkswagen right there, the top was cut off.
So he thought because you cut something off your car, that
You know, and I flat out said, look, I don't know anything about it. You know, and then there was that, and then there was something where I drove through the toll plaza thing on 400. You know, there was just a bunch of little things, and that was just the last straw.
maybe you drove through the toll plaza.
You know, there used to be a thing where you could go through it.
Right.
You know, and I was under the understanding, yeah.
Okay, you were.
I was under the understanding that, you know, there was things, there was a bunch of little things. And that was just the last straw. There was no big deal, there was no.
They just let you go.
Right.
They didn't file the charge.
Yeah. Well, man, I didn't do it, and you know, it comes there where I always thought I tried to tell them whatever, but like I said, the last straw is the last straw. But
Did you ever go up to the Waffle House and get an altercation with the mail?
I don't remember. I saw that on the internet. I don't remember that.
You guys said you came up there to beat you up.
And it seems like I would remember that, but I don't, you know.
You driving a yellow Volkswagen?
I never had it up.
Never proposed a Volkswagen.
Right.
But it was never yellow.
Never. Nope. I've never had it up. I have a thing against yellow cars, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, what do you think happened to this?
Man, every which way I think about it, it has to go back. If her parents didn't do it directly, it had to be something indirectly around it. I would beat my brain in.
So when you found out that a body was found just around the corner from where you were, and that the body had been dismembered with a saw,
I didn't know that the body was dismembered with a saw at all.
do you know the body was dismembered?
I heard that. Nobody ever said a saw. I didn't hear about that.
Autopsy report said.
Nobody ever gave me an autopsy. Nobody said that to me. I didn't know that until it was on the internet. Honest to God, I mean.
So what motive would her family have to kill?
I mean, for me, it sounds strange that they got away with this stuff for all these years, and then all of a sudden, right, as we split up and doing all this right here, and all of a sudden he ends up guilty. I don't know if she came to them needing money, or...
Do you think it's likely that her own family murdered her up and cut her?
Man, her own family killed their family and friends.
Yeah, I know he committed murder, but that's...
So his family and friends.
Well, but why would he kill her? What would be the motive for that?
Hey, man,
If he's involved in, your family's involved in criminality and you're trying to protect yourself from going to jail, that's a motive to kill someone. She was, well, motive which he had to kill her.
man, we knew what he did. Her dad was like one of our...
So you weren't worried about him coming after you? I mean, if he's going to cut up his own daughter, it would affect you.
How would he come after me? I didn't do anything. I didn't come in. Here's what I'm saying, man. I don't know if she needed money, or and they've come to him and threatened him in any kind of way, and you know, and they did. Maybe they were drunk, and then one thing that I don't know. Anything I say at this point is speculation because I don't know. But I feel like the hell, if there's serial killers that have killed their family and friends, and something happens to their family. Okay, first of all,
serial killer operate those is kind of unusual, but okay.
Okay.
to talk about, I'll deal with their family.
Right.
Speculation.
Well, let's look at the facts. Facts. You said that she was put in bags.
I didn't say that.
Well, that's what it says on the internet, that she was in her locker.
I didn't say that.
So was she put in bags?
Well, I said that.
Look, we're being straight up with you. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to figure this out.
From what I understand, the body parts had washed out of an area onto the street. Now, there were bags recovered there, so could you make the assumption that they may have been in bags? Yes. But I don't know. I wasn't there to see, so I can't.
Nobody has been straight up with me on this, okay? And everything that I'm learning is basically through the internet. And we all know how the internet lies, and it's a whole thing.
I agree with you 100%.
Everything that the internet said about me living under a different name, trying to hide their part, that is a lie.
And that's why I'm not asking you about that, because I'm not going to go off some speculation from the internet.
For the record,
12 minutes and 31 seconds.
Your Honor, for the record, that stopped at 12 minutes and 31 seconds. And we'll proceed with testimony. Now, Detective Shephard, we've just heard the interview. That was the interview you've been testifying about?
Yes, sir.
And at the conclusion of that interview, was the defendant free to go about his way?
Yes, he was.
All right. Did you get the answers that you were looking for, or the information that you were looking for related to the saw in question?
I did.
And what about information you inquired as to whether or not he actually looked for his wife?
I did.
And as you were investigating the case, was that just looking at what you would expect? Was that what you expected Christopher Wolfenbarger to do? Did you expect him to look for Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Absolutely. It's a red flag, a giant red flag for me. I would expect for a husband to look for their missing wife, and that's what he did not do.
All right. Now, that interview is in 2021, and do you continue your investigation after that?
Yes.
And in the course of continuing your investigation, do you attempt to continue to interview witnesses?
Yes.
At this point, had you located Thomas Dixon?
Yes.
All right. And what year did you locate Thomas Dixon?
I just recently was able to sit down with Thomas Dixon.
Okay. Well, specifically in 2021, were you able to locate Thomas Dixon?
No, he had a lot of different addresses, and every address that I checked, he was not there anymore.
Okay. So you looked in multiple places. Is that your testimony?
All over North Georgia, yes.
And that was at the beginning of in 2021 when you started?
Correct.
And your testimony is that very recently you spoke to Thomas Dixon. Is that also correct?
Yes.
And when did you actually speak with Thomas Dixon?
I would say maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Did that impact your ability to proceed with the investigation, being able to locate certain witnesses, in particular, Mr. Dixon?
Yes, it's always a good impact when I can actually get hands on a witness and talk to him face to face.
Did you make any attempts to locate Miss Diane Perot?
I did.
And were you successful in that?
I believe Ms. Perot is deceased.
Okay. Is that what your investigation revealed?
Correct.
And is that one of the common issues the police department faces when investigating cold cases?
Yes, every year that the case gets cold, it's potential to lose witnesses and involved parties.
Okay. At any point, do you present your investigation to the DA's office for an indictment decision?
Yes.
And what year do you do that?
Just recently, last year.
Okay, the 2024?
Correct.
And after an indictment, what happens after an indictment?
So once a warrant has been obtained and it's been indicted, of course, we assign all of our outstanding warrants to our fugitive unit.
Okay. And you familiar with Sergeant O'Hare?
Correct.
And who was Sergeant O'Hare in relationship to this case?
He was the investigator in charge of apprehending Christopher.
Okay. Do you look to see how a person responds when they're confronted or confronted by law enforcement, in particular with an arrest warrant?
Yes.
Do you look to see if that person is cooperative or if they attempt to get away or do something else?
Yes.
And did you have an impression in this case as whether or not the defendant was cooperative?
No, the defendant was not cooperative in this case.
What do you mean by that?
I understand that at the time of his apprehension, he hid in a makeshift cupboard behind an appliance inside of his home. It took him maybe 30 minutes to find him.
And why was that significant?
Well, it's significant because he obviously made an attempt to evade arrest. And I thought that was kind of odd because it's almost like it was anticipation that it was coming.
One moment, Judge.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Samuel, can you open the register? We're going to break for lunch. So it's 12:56. We're going to call that 1 o'clock and then try and get you back in here as close to 2 p.m. as we can. Thank you all very much. We are on break for lunch.
2 o'clock?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. You're also excused until 2.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any matters we need to, the jury's clear, y'all can have a seat. Any matters we need to take up?
Well, we need to take up the issue of the expert.
Yes.
We can do now or at the end of the lunch break, either way.
Yeah, I mean, it really is entirely up to y'all. My intention was to either do it now or to have you come back at 1:45 and do it then. What are your thoughts?
We can do 1:45.
Okay, so the lawyers will all come back at 1:45 and we will resume then. Thank you.
And thank you for the message, Judge. I'm going to file you right now.
No,